Hey besties!
Hey,
Welcome back for another episode of the Hello Bestie podcast. I'm Maggie.
I'm Tashima.
All right, we're excited, guys. Today we're talking about One of Us is Lying, written by Karen M. McManus. So, a brief summary. 5 students walk into detention at Bayview High School, and 4 of them leave alive because while in detention, one of the students dies. And the remaining 4, being the witnesses, then become the target suspects of a whole investigation that eventually turns into a worldwide media circus for them. And it becomes very evident as the investigation unfolds that each of them probably have a pretty substantial reason for wanting him to not be there anymore.
Yeah.
So it goes into kind of this whodunit situation, and it's written from multiple point of views. So all the students that are there, all 4, it's written from each person's. It kind of bounces back and forth, which I like. So the main characters are Simon. He's the one who died in detention. He's the creator of the school's, I hate to even call it a gossip app because I feel like he was doing real talk. He was just basically
Still gossip.
Still gossip for sure, because he was just airing people's dirty laundry. But there was always truth to it, and he was known for kind of not spreading lies. It was kind of evident. If he put it in there, it's probably true.
Right.
Yeah.
Very Gossip Girl inspired.
Absolutely. He was very strategic. He would only use first and last names, but he would give such detail about the person that it was pretty clear. If you went to the school, you knew who it was about. Yeah. Yep. So then there's Bronwyn, like this overachiever, really good student from an immigrant family. There's Addie.
Right.
Very pretty girl, has like a football star boyfriend, but
single mom, older sister.
And Cooper, who's a star baseball player, overbearing father, but comes from a good family, but his dad is just really pushing him to the major league. Right. And then you have Nate, who doesn't have a good home life. He's known as kind of like a juvenile delinquent, always in trouble kind of thing.
They all end up in detention. Mysteriously, they all had a phone that was found in their bags that all led them to be in detention, which is really suspicious because, with the exception of Nate, none of them had ever had detention before.
Right.
So they're all kind of trying to figure out if Nate set them up to be in detention just to be a jerk.
Right.
And in the meantime, there's commotion outside where there was a car accident in the parking lot. So the teacher who was in there, he leaves to go figure out what's going on. And then Simon, I guess, is like throwing shade at everybody in the room.
Yeah, Simon started talking real crazy, and he was known to have a huge peanut allergy, and he was known to always carry a water bottle around with him. So for whatever reason, he wasn't able to find his water bottle. Before the teacher had left, he said, hey, just go get a cup of water from the back of the classroom if you're thirsty. So when the teacher, Mr. Avery, leaves, Simon, as he's talking his mess to everybody, goes to the back of the classroom, pours himself a cup of water, and drinks. And almost immediately, he starts having a seizure and going into anaphylactic shock. So now everyone's freaking out because it's clear this is bad. Nate and Bronwyn run over to him. Nate starts looking through his backpack for an EpiPen, trying to find one on him. Bronwyn is there for moral support, trying to help too. Cooper leaves. He goes to the nurse's office to try to see if they have EpiPens or trying to find another adult since Mr. Avery is outside tending to the car accident. And Addie just freezes. She is like no help to the situation at all because she's just like paralyzed with shock and fear. Then 911 is called. Simon is rushed off to the hospital. And then that's where the aftermath kind of starts of everyone just dealing with what they just witnessed in detention. Cooper happens to be best friends with Addie's boyfriend, Jake, calls him to the scene, tells him what happened. Like, yo, this is crazy. Guess what happened to Simon? Then ends up taking Addie home. I think Cooper ends up going home, and Bronwyn and Nate hang around school together.
Right.
And they're just kind of talking about their shock. Now, you see at this point, there's kind of some history between those two because it was pretty clear none of them were friends.
Right.
They all knew who each other were, but they didn't hang out or really have a strong relationship. But Nate and Addie apparently went to middle school together, I think.
Or elementary school. Something
elementary
like
school, yeah. They went to school together back in the day. And they hadn't really spoken to each other since then. So Nate ends up giving Bronwyn a ride home.
On his motorcycle.
On his motorcycle, which Bronwyn was terrified of.
Right.
And when they get to her house, she gets a phone call and is told that Simon died at the hospital.
Right.
So yeah, by the next day at school, everybody knows. They offer grief counseling. The four of them are called to the principal's office where there's a police officer there and starts asking them all kinds of questions, which is normal. Like they were the
Yeah,
last people to
standard.
see him, standard procedure. Mr. Avery isn't there, which is interesting. Like
Right.
he wasn't there in the room, but he was there.
There.
Right. And they quickly realized that the way the questions are being framed, because the police officer said they had an autopsy, and Bronwyn was like, I didn't know they did those so quickly, which made her kind of look kind of, why would you say that at this
Yeah.
time?
Why would you know that?
Right. But there was peanut oil. They found traces of peanut oil in the cup that Simon drank from.
Mm.
So it quickly looks like
He
what
was
what happened
murdered.
here? Right. Like they plotted on him. So girl, that's the start of just the whole
Yeah.
craziness that ensued after that.
So just jumping into some of the social dynamics of the characters. So
Hmm.
Addie is dating Jake. So before we find out that Simon has died, Jake takes her to her house and has a conversation with her mom. And her mom is described as like having a much younger boyfriend,
Cougar.
always dating, just, you know, just looking for a man to take care of her.
Hmm.
And that's basically how she's raising her daughters. So she's trying to talk to Addie about what happened, and Addie's, aside from the shock of the situation, she also is feeling really guilty about freezing up and not being of any use. So Jake basically calls her mom by her first name, is like, well, I'm just going to take her to her room and let her lay down. And so Addie makes a mental note of like how interesting it always has been to her that Jake is able to talk to her mom more like a peer
Hmm.
than as a child talking, or an adolescent talking to an adult.
Hmm.
And so there's something that I put in my notes that I thought was very interesting is when Addie's mom says to her, if you say no too many times, a girl will come by and say yes.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow.
Hmm. Right.
So that just kind of sums up her mom's way of thinking. Like she more has that mindset of your sole purpose is to land a husband who's going to take care of you.
Lucky for
Period.
Addie, she has an older sister who has more sense.
Yeah.
She's going through a divorce,
Mm-hmm.
but
But
she
you
did
find
marry
that
someone
out
that she
later.
loved. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
you
married
find out
someone that she loved, and it didn't work out for whatever reason, but she also has that other person in her ear like, don't listen to her. You're
yeah.
young, live your life. So
Her
that's
sister's the
good.
one who's really showing up at the parent teacher conferences, who's signing her permission slips, and her older sister is more of her mom. Her
Right.
mom is out there trying to find her next husband,
Right.
to take care of her. Their kids are interviewed. Um, there's a new Tumblr post, which is now kind of like that gossip thing that Simon had,
Mm-hmm.
that is now posting kind of in his stead, and everybody's in shock of, because at first everybody was like, well, we're really sad that he's dead, but people are also kind of relieved that their dirty laundry isn't going to
Mm-hmm.
be aired
Mm-hmm.
because nobody liked him for that reason.
Right.
But now there's a Tumblr post that basically is like, surprise, I'm going to keep this thing going. And
Mm-hmm.
now everybody's really on edge because one, they don't know who killed Simon, and two, they don't know who's managing this post.
The post was pretty detailed too. So
Mm-hmm.
Simon's blog was called About That. This Tumblr was under the guise of About This. And the
Mm-hmm.
person writing it speaks from a person's perspective of who murdered Simon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes it so like, and
Right.
everyone knows that the four were the only ones. So it's
Right.
automatically assumed that it has to be one of them. And they said that they got the idea from watching a show on Dateline or something where a woman was murdered, but she had multiple people who have wanted her dead. So the investigation was very interesting from that aspect.
Right.
So the Tumblr post just goes into all of this. So from there, it just kind of snowballs to where now the whole school is aware. They're all under investigation. They all are called down to the police station from Simon's funeral when they all go there. They all go with different parties. I think Addie and Cooper were the only ones to go without their parents or
Mm-hmm.
someone there with him. Nate actually went with his probation
Right.
officer because he thought she set him up, because when he got there, he immediately saw all these police officers, some in uniform, some not.
So I'm just gonna interrupt you. So
Yeah.
Nate is on probation for, I think he was caught selling
Yep.
something.
Mm-hmm.
And then so that's why he has a probation officer. His dad is pretty much an alcoholic.
Huge.
His mom died.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's just kind of left to his own devices.
Yep.
And then Bronwyn, she is a daughter of immigrants, very successful family. She does have a older sister?
Younger sister.
Who I guess at some point in time did have leukemia.
Mm-hmm.
And she was able to beat that, but it also caused for her to have some, like, I don't know.
I got to do this for the both of us kind of thing.
Yeah, like she kind of is in protective mode over her sister, but then also doesn't want to do anything because of her sister.
Right.
Like there's just still a lot of eggshells from that time period
Right.
where they thought that, they were going to lose her.
Mm-hmm.
And then her sister is kind of in a little bit of a weird bubble because she missed a lot of school. So
Mm-hmm.
she's just kind of like on the outskirts of like the social circles.
Yeah, Bronwyn's kind of like her wingman.
But then Cooper is very close with his grandmother.
Yes.
Who
Mm-hmm.
seems to be the only reason why Cooper's parents are able to stay in the house that they're staying
Mm-hmm.
in. So they're a little house poor.
Right.
And grandma's check is allowing them to kind of sustain their
Right.
lifestyle, but it doesn't sound like they're like living lavish,
Mm-hmm.
but it does sound like they are able to be where they are because of her.
Right. Right. So another Tumblr post after the first ends up coming out
Mm-hmm.
that is pretty detailed that the murderer used peanut oil to kill Simon.
And the poster says that they killed him.
Yes, they like, it was me who did it, and you guys still don't know who it is, who did it, type of thing. Really just gaslighting, essentially. And the school at this point thinks that they'll be able to locate the person by IP address, and they're trying to do all of these things. So meanwhile, they're all still going to school, trying to make the most of it with whispers and heads turning and all of that. So at Simon's funeral, all those police officers are there. Eventually, all of them, at some point or another, at the funeral, asked to go down to the police station.
Mm-hmm.
I think it speaks from Addie's perspective first. When she goes to the police station and they tell her, we found a blog post that Simon was going to post on Monday, basically the Monday after he died. And we'd like for you to read it. So Addie reads it.
Yeah, Addie is reading a post that Simon was going to tell everyone that she cheated on Jake.
Yep.
And with, I don't remember the kid's name.
TJ. Who is like his friend on the baseball team, on the football team.
I feel like with the multiple POVs, there were some times where I was like, wait, who's doing this?
It could switch up a little bit too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we really, like, we talked about how Addie's mom is, but Addie was borderline obsessed with Jake. Basically, her whole self-worth.
Codependent. Very
codependent. Yes, mm-hmm. That's the best way to say it. Extremely codependent on Jake.
Right.
Yeah.
But also knowing that about herself.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's not like she was completely oblivious to the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she understood that she was very codependent and didn't want to be, but felt like she needed to be at the same time.
Right.
So this blog post would have been like the equivalent of death to her.
Correct.
To lose Jake, who
mm-hmm.
she'd come to rely on heavily, to the point where they were going to go to a party, and she came outside. It was like at a beach. She came outside dressed like, it was like an evening, so
mm-hmm.
she came dressed appropriately for like a chilly beach weather.
Right.
And he's like, no, don't wear that. And then had her put on like a mini skirt and
heels. Right.
And her sister's like, her sister is not a fan of him.
Mm-hmm.
and basically like, you're gonna be freezing your ass off. Why are you wearing that?
Right.
She's like, yeah, but Jake likes it. And she's like, so what? You're going to be cold.
Mm-hmm.
And no less than like 1 second, she steps outside and she's already shivering.
Yes. So when Jake took her to that party, it was in the company of TJ.
Yeah, they picked him up or he was in the car, they picked him up along the way.
So they've been around each other, around Jake, basically playing in his face.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't know it. So that kind of added to it too. She knew he would be upset.
Yeah.
And as Addie's reading this in the police station, she also sees that apparently Bronwyn cheated on a test in chemistry, and that Nate was known to be on probation, and that he was selling drugs, and that, oh, Cooper apparently pitches so fast because he's taking steroids.
Right.
So there's this whole thing of like, ugh.
Not only were they all in detention, then this situation happened. There's a blog post that was going to come out about every single person that was in detention.
Yes.
That would have given them all motive to want him dead.
This is leading to a very kind of unbelievable coincidence, right, as far as like the authorities are concerned. So when Cooper goes in and he reads it, because they didn't just have you read they had him read the whole post, so they saw everything he was going to post about everyone. So messy. And Cooper sees that it says that he's juicing. His immediate reaction is relief.
Right.
So as a reader, it's like,
why would you be relieved?
Correct. Like, what did you think it was going to say?
Especially when you have scouts that are coming to see you, and people have been making mention, in addition to your coach, on how fast you have improved your fastball.
Right.
Or whatever, the speed of your throw.
Right.
You know, you have a lot on the line. Like, why would this not be devastating to you?
Right.
Because no college is going to want you if they know that you're shooting up steroids.
Bronwyn's parents actually went to the police station with her and basically handled the whole interrogation, and they got a lot of information out of it. And she came clean in the car on the way home. So I was proud of her for that, because she didn't keep it going for too long.
Her parents were ready to go to bat. They were like, we're going to get a lawyer, we're going to shut this down.
Right.
We're going to, you know, like, and she basically was like, I did it.
I did cheat. Like Bronwyn would never cheat on a test. I did cheat on a test. I was going to get a D in chemistry. I thought it was going to stop me from getting into Yale. Like, I was desperate. He had his computer open with all the answers. Like, I don't know. I just did it. And they were disappointed. But like, as a parent, that's when you want your kid to come clean with you before you go through all of this. And so
end up looking like a dummy.
Right.
Bronwyn is questioned. She confesses. Nate pops up at her house because they kind of have established a little bit of a friendship through all of this. So they've been talking.
He gave her a burner phone.
He gave her a burner phone. So they've been with like prepaid minutes on it.
Which is the same type of phones that they found in everyone's backpacks as well.
Right. And so they've been talking on the phone, late night type conversations, watching movies and stuff like that together on the phone. And then he starts making a habit of popping up at her house, which is weird.
It is weird.
Her dad ends up being there one of those times and is like, no.
We're not having this.
No, you can leave. She has nothing to say to you.
Right.
And they went very much into protective mode over her at that point in time, too. They don't want her talking to anybody or anything like that. And then Addie confesses to Jake about what she did.
Because her sister told her that she should.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it was more of like, it's better that you do than he hears it from somebody else.
It's going to come out, right.
So Addie basically is like, you were gone, you know, like, it was like over a summer break or something like that, and she hadn't really heard from him, and she was feeling very insecure. Again, codependency, and she started having these thoughts of like, well, maybe he's cheating on me.
She had just lost her virginity to him and was really feeling like, well, now that we've done that.
Yeah, he's done with me.
Right.
And so she happened to be, I don't know, maybe on the beach again or somewhere. They were somewhere.
Yeah.
And she saw TJ, and then they just started drinking, and one thing led to another. Like, it sounded like they were both pretty inebriated.
Yes.
And so immediately she regretted it, but didn't want to lose him. So, but only the two, in each of these little secrets, with the exception of Nate, nobody was around and nobody knew these things. So it still brought the question of like, how did he know these things? Because Bronwyn was like, there was nobody around when I accessed the computer and got all these answers. And nobody but Addie and TJ knew about their hookup. And
People saw them kissing on the beach, though.
but nobody from school.
TJ said we were on a public beach, like kissing. So
yeah, I guess so.
Addie's was weird because hers happened in the library. So who else saw her? Bronwyn. Sorry. Yeah. Nate.
Same thing with Cooper.
Same thing with Cooper.
We haven't gotten to.
Yeah. Cooper. Nate was like selling to Simon and other people. So
that was like everybody knew. That was nothing.
Right.
It's just the fact that this rumor of, even though everybody knew, could get him actually locked up for real, considering he was on probation.
Right.
People are kind of confessing their secrets, and then Cooper's grandmother ends up having a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And she ends up in the hospital, and then around that same time, there's another Tumblr post.
Oh, hold on. Cooper has a really, really pretty girlfriend named Keely, who is like...
I forgot all about her.
I felt like it was important to mention before we drop that next bomb when it comes. But like super pretty girl, very popular, all the boys.
Friends with Addie.
Yeah, just like
in this little,
who wouldn't want Keely as a girlfriend, basically. So
yeah.
And
her and Addie and some other girls are not in a mean girls club, but they're very much like the popular girls. Like hair perfect guy, perfect girls, perfect hair. Right. Does make mention of Addie's very perfect hair. Even on her worst day, she could be on her deathbed, but her hair would just be naturally just perfect. And so, yeah.
Very much you can't sit with us vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, but like
not like
from
literally
Addie
correct
necessarily. Addie seemed to be just like, she probably wouldn't have been in that group had her boyfriend not been Jake.
Correct.
And I think it did make mention of that. Now, Cooper's girlfriend is very much of like, you can't sit with us. And her friends. So they have their table, they're the cool kids, and yeah. So then Cooper's grandmother ends up having a heart attack, unrelated to anything, and she ends up in the hospital.
Yeah. While she's in the hospital, though, she does make a comment to him, like, kind of, you don't need to play with Keely the way you're playing with her.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just saying, I kind of notice when you're around her, you don't seem that happy.
Right.
But sometimes when you get certain text messages, your whole face lights up. So she could be a nice girl. Doesn't mean she has to be for you.
Right.
Do with that information what you will. So then shortly after that, another Tumblr post comes out. And Bronwyn is called to the police station. And the police tell her that they have found in Simon's archives a post that he did on her sister, who, as you had mentioned, was like just really timid, but trying to make her way into the social circle. And apparently her sister had gone to a party, had a little bit too much to drink, and was trying to flirt with a high school football player, like someone who Simon was saying was out of her league. But the post was really mean, really nasty, and really...
She ended up getting drunk, throwing up
in the washing machine.
Like basically just dancing, like just didn't make herself look really good. And the post that he made was not nice about her.
It wasn't.
And it just really, like, for somebody who had battled leukemia, went to her first party and just really trying to be a regular teen, and then just kind of did the most. And then ended up being, that was one of the very first few posts that he made.
I think so, yeah. And it mentioned her being a cancer survivor. So it, like, he would do things like that. I'm going to use your first name and your last name, but I'm going to say something about you that still everyone would know that I'm talking about you. So clear that the police figured this out. You know, it's pretty obvious this is who he was talking about. And they showed her a comment that Addie had wrote, just basically said, I keep mixing them up. I'm sorry. Thank you for that. Bronwyn, that Bronwyn had wrote saying like, F off and die, Simon.
Right.
And given that Simon is dead,
Right.
all of the evidence...
That was like so long ago. That
it was, right.
It almost seemed like a reach for the police to say, oh, well, you know, like a year and some change ago or something like that. You know, you said this, and she basically stood on business like, that's my sister.
Right. But prior to that, Bronwyn's lawyer had been telling her, look, they really don't have anything. They keep questioning you guys. They keep bringing up the same stuff over and over again. They can't prove that any of you did anything. As long as none of you go in there finger pointing or insinuating anything, it'll probably just get ruled out as an accidental homicide.
Right.
Bam, bam, boom.
And in the meantime, stay away from each other.
Yeah. Don't talk to anyone. Just keep it low profile. Mm-hmm. And then this happens with Bronwyn. So now it looks really, whoa.
Right. Addie's sister picks her up from the police station. And basically, you know, she's distraught because they have this blog post where it's talking about her cheating on Jake. And so her sister basically is like, you need to tell him before he finds out any other way. So she drives her sister over there, which she kind of also is mentioning that her sister's been around a lot more despite being married, you know, but she's glad that she has been around a lot more.
Right.
Since her mom is kind of unreliable. So Addie's sister takes her over there to Jake's house, and she basically tells him the truth. And he loses his shit.
Yeah, it does not go well.
It doesn't go well at all. Luckily, her sister had a feeling that it wasn't going to go well because she's a better judge of character in terms of Jake's true colors, and was waiting outside for her. But he basically goes off on her and is telling her that she's a terrible person and that she should, you know, like, he basically took care of her and did everything for her, and how dare she do this to him. And despite her apologizing, you know, he makes mention that his mom had cheated on his dad and the impact that that had on their family, which is why it just hurt him so much more. And so she leaves. She's totally distraught. The next day, the blog post comes out, or that Tumblr post comes out, basically saying, these are all the secrets, and these are why everybody in the room had a motive, and it just lists all the things. So it says that Addie cheated on Jake. It said that Bronwyn cheated on the test. It said that Nate was selling drugs despite being on probation, and that Cooper was shooting up steroids. And then somewhere in the midst of all of that, the real reason, I believe, I don't know if I'm getting out of order, the real reason why Cooper...
So the next day at school, the blog post that all of them read at the police station is now released. So the whole school has read it. Jake walks over to TJ after gym class, and Cooper sees him, like, basically knock him out, punch him out, break his nose. Jake is sent home, and Addie is crying. Everybody sees this, and they're kind of like, well, guess that was true.
And Little Miss Perfect Addie is not so perfect after all. So then Cooper's girlfriend kind of is like, oh, perfect. Because I don't really care for you anyway. And then they kind of start turning on her. Yeah, they start icing her out big time. No sympathy, no nothing. They just basically are like, she's immediately kicked out of the group. Like, that proves that she was really only in the group because of Jake. And Jake cut her off like she knew that he would. Cold turkey, nothing. So she's just very much, as you mentioned before, that's like death to her. What am I supposed to do now? And randomly one day, her perfect hair, her perfect image, she goes into a hair salon and tells the person she wants her hair cut. And they say, oh, a trim? No, just cut it. But her hair is so beautiful, so thick, so gorgeous. The hairdresser doesn't want to do it. Goes and gets her manager. They try to talk her out of it. And she gets pissed and she picks up a pair of scissors, just like chops off a lump of hair and is like, now fix it. So that starts her whole journey into discovering herself and kind of changing her self-image. Because she was really depressed before that. So like her cutting her hair off was more of her claiming back her identity of, I wear these clothes because he told me to. I
Yep.
had my hair like this because this is what everybody wants from me, and
Mhm.
I'm just gonna do me.
Yep.
And then in the meantime, you know, she's adopted into Bronwyn's little group, so it just becomes like a little group of misfits.
Yep.
Also, Simon's friend, I forget her
Janae,
name, Janae, she's also kind of adopted into this group as
which was
well.
interesting.
Well, Addie found her crying in the bathroom, so after Simon's death, she was super depressed, crying all the time. Addie was crying after their breakup in the bathroom, so she was like, look, I know these stalls very well. I
Hmm.
was in these bathrooms crying too. And so they don't really bond, but Addie does say, like, you know, if you need somebody to talk to, I didn't care for him. I didn't care for Simon, but I understand that you've lost somebody,
As a human, right?
and
Hmm.
if you need somebody to talk to, like, I'm here.
Yeah.
So, Janae is not really like giving warm and fuzzies. Like, she's still kind of pushing Addie away, but she does kind of start hanging out with them at lunch.
Yeah, she starts eating lunch with them.
Mm-hmm.
And Cooper, who is still friends with Jake, is kind of caught in the middle because he wants to show, since everyone else iced Addie out, he doesn't want to do that too. So
Right.
Cooper would actually go and sit with them for maybe 10 minutes, and then he would go sit with the remaining group. And I remember Bronwyn saying, I don't know if that's cowardly or really thoughtful of him. And I could see her being like, I mean, which way do you want to do? He was just doing his best to try to, like, you know, be Switzerland, basically.
Meanwhile, his girlfriend is like, yuck.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And everybody's like, why are you talking to her? She's disgusting.
Right.
Calling her names and belittling her.
So all of them are going through all of this at school. The police had gotten a warrant for Nate, so they searched his lockers, searched his home and everything for drugs. His thing was true as all of them, but since he was on probation, he was getting weekly visits, so he would actually hide his stash in like a neighbor's thing. So he was expecting a visit before all of this happened, so he had already hid his stash. So he was kind of like, whew, good to go with that. At this point, there's national media coverage. They've been dubbed the Bayview Four. They are having like weekly Dateline type stories where they've really delved into the lives of each one of them and talking about their backstories. The down thing is they don't really go into Nate's backstory. They just make him sound like a delinquent. He's just a bad kid. They don't talk about his father being an alcoholic, his mom not being around, him basically raising himself. There's no context to that. So shortly after that airs, and at this point they all look very guilty. It's very much like, who did it between all of them?
Well, I think at this point they're making it seem like it was a coup.
Yes.
Since they all had dirt on it, that they all worked together to basically take him out.
Yeah. Shortly after that, Cooper is called into the police station again after baseball practice. And the police officer recommends that it's just him and his lawyer, that his dad not be there. So he was kind of a real one for that with what he was going to tell him.
Right.
He shows Cooper a blog post where Simon was going to post it saying that Cooper is seen with an underwear model and is making comments to Keely like she can't compete when Cooper plays for the other team. Right. So basically outing Cooper. Mm-hmm. And he's horrified because that's the post that's the secret he was expecting in the beginning. Turns out he wasn't juicing. His dad had actually told him to strategically increase, like basically hold back and then improve himself little by little.
Blow them out of the water and look like he just has improved so much. Correct,
because he wanted to bring excitement for recruiting season. Which also explains why his dad was never upset with Cooper at all, because like, this is your fault. You told me to do this, and now they think I'm on steroids. Right. But he's shooketh, you know. He's freaked out. He doesn't want everyone to know that he's gay. He's not ready to come out.
And he knows that his dad is not having it.
Yeah.
Is not going to talk to him in the same way that he did before.
Right. And his boyfriend is like college dude, super hot underwear model.
German.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
And his lawyer tells him, you need to tell your father.
Yeah.
So he goes home and he tells his whole family. His dad laughs because his dad calls him Cooperstown. So he's like, I know my dad is never going to look me in the eye. Like, he's never going to look at me the same way as he always did. So he was very upset.
He was accurate.
He was accurate. And his grandmother, not surprised, because I don't know if she knew that he was gay, but she knew that he wasn't with his girlfriend. I think she probably knew too. Yeah. And so that is awkward. Now he's officially out. And the next day at school, now apparently everyone else knows that he's out, which is really shady on the police to like leak something like that. It looks, you know.
Somewhere along the line, I think him and Keely broke up with her, right? Before that even came out?
I think he did.
After like what the grandmother said?
I think he did. Basically, like, I don't want to waste your time kind of thing. And yes.
So
he did
for her, it just felt like it came out of nowhere. But then after, she was like, huh. Like, she was very much like, yuck. Guess that all makes sense now.
Right.
Because up until then, she thought that she was doing something wrong. Because she was trying to be very present and pleasing girlfriend, but he wasn't really giving her a whole lot of play.
Right.
And so then she's like, so it wasn't me after all. You know, and then it did kind of make him look like a bad guy. Because, yeah, like, I'm doubting myself. And meanwhile, it wasn't me.
Right.
You know, so she was a little bitter.
Yeah, understandably so.
Yeah,
honestly, I mean, that's embarrassing for her. Yeah, for sure. Oh, and before everyone knew, he had pulled Addie to the side and basically gave her the tea. Like, I'm just letting you know, I got called to the police station. It really looks like they're gonna pin this on me now. Like, I look like a main suspect. I look really bad. And then Addie was like, really? Because they called Bronwyn to the station. They did this. And they searched Nate. So she starts giving him the tea on everybody else. And because he's just been in his own little baseball bubble.
Right.
And Addie has started kind of hanging out more with Bronwyn. Bronwyn and Nate are talking on the phone all the time. So
there's so many different moving parts, but like up until that moment, everybody hadn't gotten together to start putting it together. And I think that's shortly thereafter they have that, we all need to talk.
Right.
And start comparing notes.
Right.
You know, and they're like, yeah, but they told us not to. And it's like, look, clearly each of us has something and we need to put all these pieces together.
I think they have it that night or the night after, because after he talks with Addie later on at lunch, when he walks into the lunchroom, like someone throws a banana at him and someone throws a condom and just starts making all these like weird things.
Yeah.
And then Nate comes in the lunchroom, which Nate never comes in the lunchroom at all, and basically makes some comments to people, shut them all the way up. And then Bronwyn jumps up and like kisses Nate in front of everybody. And, you know, the whole thing is like catcalling and like,
So instead of being about Cooper, everybody's just talking about all these other things.
They were real ones for that, honestly, to shift all of that from him. So then he sat down and...
at the misfit table.
Yep. And now all of them are, and girl, I could see it. I think they described it so well when they talked about how shortly after that, Cooper walked over to Addie. Like, they were all in the school parking lot, just arriving to school. I think Nate had pulled up on his motorcycle and went over to Bronwyn's car. Like, they were walking together, and then Cooper and Addie end up walking. So somehow all four of them end up like walking in unison, and reporters got like a picture of them basically look at the Bayview Four, and then it really started looking like they were in a coup and plotting all of that. So then they all meet at an abandoned house or half-built house or something, and they start comparing notes, which thank goodness, you know, because there's strength in numbers, and you guys really need to all compare notes.
Like, you all need to talk.
Right.
Something ain't working out. We did skip the part where Addie and Janae started kind of like hanging out a little bit, but then Janae went to Addie's house, but then acted really weird and left abruptly.
Right.
So then they're all meeting, they start comparing notes, and they start figuring out like something, like somebody is setting us up.
I don't know how soon after, but Maeve, who is Bronwyn's sister, she starts doing her own research.
Right.
And
she's really good at hacking.
She's a hacker. And she really starts seeing that Simon apparently had a whole thing on, like, a whole online presence on these, I don't know if they're, I don't want to say Reddit groups, but like groups like that, that kind of promoted school shootings and things like that. So
celebrating them.
Yeah. And Simon had made comments on these posts saying, that's been done before. People should really be creative. If you really want to impress me, do something that hasn't been done before. And That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So they all just start meeting together and comparing notes. And at some point, Bronwyn, so they're getting all this media coverage, and while everyone looks to be blaming them, there's one thing that's called until proven, and a
Mm-hmm.
lawyer, Eli, he's like, why is nobody questioning the teacher?
Mm-hmm.
What happened with that car accident outside? Like, he's asking the questions that other people aren't asking and really kind of shedding light on these kids, their lives are being picked apart and they aren't even getting a fair investigation.
Right.
So Bronwyn ends up calling him and tries to hook some stuff up.
It also tries to get Nate to call him.
Yes.
Because he's pretty much the only one at this point who doesn't have like some kind of parental guidance or legal representation.
Correct. Yep.
And he just shuts her all the way down.
Yep.
He's like, I'm not interested. Like, just stay out of it.
Yep.
And that's where they kind of have like their first little riff, where she realizes the pretty big difference between their lives.
Right.
Like, she comes from a very affluent family, and he's not.
So then at this point, like they're basically dating now because reporters are coming to the school. They're trying to get interviews, and Nate and Bronwyn managed to sneak away like into the woods and go to the mall or go somewhere else. Like, they had a couple instances where they were able to sneak away.
Right.
Addie just started becoming a badass. Like, they got pictures of her like throwing a middle finger up, and they would try to interview Cooper and do things, and he would try to duck and dodge and do some things. His friend Lewis was a real one though.
For letting him use his car.
Yeah. Like, trying to mask himself as Cooper. And actually, before the post even came out, when Cooper had that chance in his friend's car to be able to leave, he went straight to the dude's house, and we found out his name is Chris. And that was when it was like, oh. And then shortly after that, the blog post came out. But yeah.
And then I think shortly after their meeting, Nate got arrested.
Yes.
So they basically were like, you're the like, basically that they're just pinning the whole thing on him.
Oh, after the whole Cooper situation came out, like that night, there was a news broadcast, and like the newscaster was pissed because it turns out apparently he was outed himself like years prior, and was just like, that is when the whole investigation flipped to where the police are now trying to out this boy who wasn't ready to be outed. These kids have not had a fair shake.
Right. And they don't know what they're doing. At
that point, everything turned over to the school and the police department. Like, you guys have not handled this investigation well, and blase, blase. So then everyone's kind of like, Cooper is embarrassed. He has all the feels, but then there's kind of a sense of relief of like, whew, you know, like finally the heat is off us. And then Nate gets arrested.
Right. Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
And they're basically pinning the whole entire thing on him.
Yep.
He gets arrested, and then shortly thereafter, Bronwyn finds out that Nate's mom actually isn't dead. She pops up. And
she found that out, like,
I think, like,
prior.
I don't really remember, like, how Bronwyn's mom got involved, but somehow she ended up telling her mom, like, the whole tea.
Yeah.
And then Bronwyn, her mom, and Nate's mom ended up going to a lawyer's office. And then from there, they were like, thanks, Bronwyn. We got it from here.
Right.
Like, you did everything that you needed to do. And so she put her in contact with that pro bono law group to get him some representation. So, but in the meantime, he's like completely locked up. But the only way to really nip this whole thing in the bud is to figure out who actually killed Simon.
Right. Because at this point, Nate's in a juvenile detention center, and they're talking about moving him to an adult facility.
Yeah.
And the lawyer made mention, well, the mom, because this is what the police told her, that they searched his locker and then searched his home and found basically EpiPens and a journal with blog posts to where it looks like he's the one who did all of this. And Bronwyn is like, wait, but they searched all of that already and they didn't find anything.
Right. And then all of a sudden, all these things pop up.
Yep.
So then after that, they basically go on a mission to try to figure out, like, what's what.
Bronwyn orchestrated all of that, boy. I was like, if I ever found myself in that position, Lord, Send me a Bronwyn because she was doing all the meetings, all the coordination, had a whole like CSI, like
Yeah,
just
she was a
we're
real
gonna figure
one.
this out. Yep.
So the way that it all came out is because when Addie was trying to not really say everything that happened when she was interrogated, she had made a comment about the police hadn't had eaten like a whole entire plate of donuts or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, which wasn't true.
Because
And all,
Jake called her over to his house all of a sudden. He asked her at school, like, "Hey, you want
right.
to talk?" And she's kind of like, "I mean, okay." And
Yeah.
yeah, she
And
went over
so
to his
like
house.
because in the blog post it came out that the police had eaten all these donuts and that's how she knew that he was involved
Mm-hmm.
is because she said that to him just
Right.
basically to not really want to talk about what they were asking, like the truth about the blog post that, she
Right.
just made something up that happened at the police station
Mm-hmm.
without having to tell him the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she read that, she knew that Jake had something to do with this blog post.
Yep.
And then they kind of
She ends up,
figure out how
yeah,
to
she
trap
ends up
him.
going over to Janae's house
Right.
because Janae had been missing school.
Hmm.
And Janae did a pop up. She popped up over her house and was like, "What's up? You haven't been at school." And Bronwyn had kind of coached her on what to say because Bronwyn wanted to go with her. And
Hmm.
she's like, "She don't really mess with you like that.
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
cool." But Cooper offered to take her. She's like, "You can't come inside." He said, "I'll park my car across the street. Just, I want to make sure everything's okay."
Right.
She goes to Janae's house and has that conversation. Before that, when they're at the coffee shop during one of their meetings, I think they started calling them like the murder club
Hmm.
meetings. All of this is coming to light. So Bronwyn's sister is bringing to light Simon's post.
Right.
They're connecting all the dots, like who could have done this? And the group keeps growing because Bronwyn brought her sister, Addie brought her sister. Cooper is basically out now, so
With
he
his
brought his
boyfriend.
boyfriend.
Right.
Yep. So they're trying to put all the pieces together, and Chris, Cooper's boyfriend, is kind of like, okay, if none of you did it,
Hmm.
and Simon was the only other person in the room, what does that tell you? So he kind of connects the dots that Simon might
Hmm.
have committed suicide,
Right.
done this to himself, and that Jake probably was an accomplice
Right.
and helping him out.
Because he wouldn't have been able to do all of these things after the fact, so he would have had to have somebody help him.
Correct.
And then they started saying, well, that makes sense why Janae is so distraught.
Yes.
You know, she's guilty,
Yep.
not necessarily mourning.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Addie basically is like, goes over to Janae's house and is like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then, is that when Janae kind of tells her that that's why she ended up going over to her house? Because
Yep.
she was supposed to be the one to get set up.
Yep, Janae told her everything because
Yeah.
Addie was like, "Did he do this to himself?" And she's like, "How did you know?" And then just breaks down, and that's when Addie was like,
She's
"Are
like,
you
I've been
kidding
holding
me?"
this in.
Yeah,
It feels so good to have somebody to tell.
right, right. So yeah, told her basically everything that Jake, but she told her a lot of stuff before she got to Jake. You know, like Simon was depressed and really unhappy with his life. Like Simon had typed up this manifesto that she went upstairs and got Addie and brought it down to her, and Addie's reading through it. And basically, Simon's plan was to kill himself, set all of them up, totally ruin their lives, and then a year from now, have Janae or Jake send it to the police and kind of like a, ha, I pulled it off.
Right.
Which, wow. But that's him trying to create this creative whatever.
Of like taking students down, ruining their lives, hurting people. Because in a way, it was all connected that they had all also, in addition to having all these secrets, they had also hurt Simon in some way.
Right.
Which is why he really wanted revenge against these people.
Mm-hmm. Intentionally or not, because I think everything that was mentioned, none of them, it wasn't like they were bullying him or being mean, or like he just felt slighted in one way or another by each person. So yeah, that's why he picked them. So Janae spills the beans, and then she says that Jake got really into it. Basically, Simon had found out about her. Simon was bragging at a pool about basically
the whole thing.
he was bragging to her about, like, he fixed the votes for homecoming court and he got
Oh,
himself on
that's right.
homecoming court. And Jake overheard him saying that. And Addie's like, I can immediately understand Jake's reaction because she was with him for so long. He like cracked up, just started like
How pathetic he is.
how pathetic he is, how desperate he is. And Simon was mortified. And this was a kid who's known for airing out other people's dirty laundry.
This would have ruined his entire persona.
Yep. So he basically tells Jake, like, oh, you want to laugh? How about I know your girl slept with TJ? So Jake is upset by this. And then Simon essentially pulls him in and is like, here's what I'm planning to do. I just need you to keep it up. Because Janae wouldn't do it. She was trying to talk sense into Simon, like, you don't have to do this. And I guess they had a conversation in detail about it. And at the end of that conversation, Jake had edited in such a way while Janae was talking sense into Simon to where it looked like it was all her idea. So then he blackmailed her with that. Like, if you don't want to participate, that's fine. Let me do my thing, but I got this. And I can put this on your front doorstep anytime I want to.
So she basically distanced herself and, like, tried to stay out of it as much as she can.
Yep.
But Jake basically was like, no, now you're going to do this thing.
Right.
And you're going to set up Addie.
Mm-hmm.
Because that bitch needs to pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
For breaking my heart.
Right. So
cheating on me.
Yeah, Jake was the one doing all the posts, doing all that stuff. And she's telling her, like, he only comes to my house when my parents aren't here. Like, I don't know what to do. Because Addie's listening and then she gets mad. Like, wait a minute though. So like, how you just let us go through all of this knowing all of that? And she's like, I'm scared of him and this and that. And then she gets a knock on the door. And it's Jake. Mm-hmm. So Addie tells her, we're going to do to him what he did to you. I'm going to go in your dining room. I'm going to record. So you just talk to him about all this. And she gets a recording of Jake talking to her and basically going back and forth. But
ring, ring, ring.
Cooper texts her like, yo, you okay? I just saw Jake come in. She forgot to put her phone on silent.
Facepalm.
Yeah. And she had this really prominent ringtone. So Jake is like, wait, is Addie here? Addie? And she just shoots out of the room, like, into the woods in the back.
Yeah. He chases her and basically tries to kill her.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, punches her, beats her. Janae runs out. She got some, too.
Yeah.
And Addie starts to lose consciousness, and out of nowhere, she's not being choked anymore.
Yeah.
And she realizes that Cooper
to the rescue.
Cooper to the rescue. And yeah, she went to the hospital, and then obviously all of this comes to light. Nate gets released from jail. Nate pissed me off when he got out of jail.
Oh God, he pissed me off so much.
He like, pissed me off. This? Right.
He basically got in his feelings because Bronwyn and the crew, you know, were able to uncover all this truth, but meanwhile he was basically locked up and felt completely useless and like insignificant to the whole ordeal.
He's like the only contribution I was the guy that was easy to arrest. Like, yeah, come on, dude.
So now all of a sudden he's like got feelings and he just starts acting really distant and basically breaks up with Bronwyn.
Yeah.
You know, is like, yeah, but not in like a. I mean, they're in high school, so obviously, like, I get it, not having those mature conversations.
Right.
But basically, yeah, she's like trying to be there for him, but he's giving her the cold shoulder and just very not giving her any play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they break up, and then everybody kind of moves on with life.
Yeah, they get as back to normal as they can at that point.
Comes out Addie's sister, her husband was cheating on her, which is why she was around so much. She got her own place and was like, I want you to come live with me.
And she started dating the lawyer, the guy Eli.
The pro bono lawyer, which she really wasn't looking for that, but it just, you know.
I love the description they had when he first saw her. Like, I don't know, it was really cute.
It made it, like, you really got to understand that like, Addie and her sister were very beautiful. Her mom probably was very beautiful in her prime, just not willing to like accept the fact that she was aging.
Right.
And so like you gathered that these are just two very naturally beautiful girls, but not to the point that that's like their mom made it their identity, but that really wasn't who they were.
They weren't uptight or,
Mm-hmm.
like stuck up or anything like
More
that.
humble
Hmm.
than anything.
Hmm.
And just, So yeah, that whole thing was really adorable. So Addie and her sister start talking about moving in together.
Hmm.
Cooper's out to the point where he and his boyfriend are like holding hands in public.
Hmm.
Um, Bronwyn got a letter from, was it Yale?
Yeah,
Whatever
it
school
was
she
like
was
a
trying to
Twitter
get
post or
into.
something, and yeah.
Basically saying like it's not about having the perfect grades and being the perfect student, but it's about being able to acknowledge when you made a mistake
Hmm.
and,
We're looking forward to your
fixing it.
application.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really good. And then Nate was Nate.
Yeah. So in the epilogue, which I was so glad they had an epilogue because
Yeah,
I would
because I
have been
was like,
so
what?
upset.
I was right.
I don't think we mentioned, but Bronwyn was excellent at the piano. So she actually had a concert, and Addie came, and by this time, girl, Addie's like pixie haircut, purple hair, like she is just like biker jacket. She's really trying to find herself, and I love that for her.
Yeah.
Cooper attends with his boyfriend Chris, and her sister is there. Addie's sister, Ashton, is there with Eli. And Bronwyn is kind of like working low key for Eli now, which just seemed like a natural thing that she should do after everything that happened with the investigation. And at the end, they're out in the parking lot, and Nate is there on his motorcycle and basically tells her he's sorry, he misses her, he thought he felt worthless, and he felt like she was better off without him. Like, you're off to do these great things, and like, look at me, where am I going with my life? I didn't want to bring you down. Which, when he explained that, it's to really care about somebody and want the best for them, it makes sense to like let them go if you think you're going to just ruin their life.
Yeah.
That's an adult thing to do, but the way he went
make
about
them
that
feel
was
like
horrible.
shit.
Right. Yeah. Like you could have just said that to her initially and she would have, no, no, no. But anyway, so then he asked her out to a movie and they agreed to go to a movie, and that's basically like where it ends, because she started dating another dude and was just
some other
like,
little geek.
yeah, it was just like, this ain't it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh gosh, so lame.
Yeah, but that's basically how it ended. So, what did you think of this book? I didn't look up any other reviews or anything, but I loved it too.
I think it had a 3.8.
3.8
on Goodreads.
I'd give this a 4.5 if I had to. I thought it was awesome.
3.9 on Goodreads and 4.5 on Amazon.
I'd give it a 4.5. What would you give it?
I gave it a 4.8.
Yeah.
Like, when first of all, okay, before that vlog, I would give it a negative because it would have pissed me off to just end on that note.
Yes.
But the book I thought was awesome. I loved it. I enjoyed, like, you really did not know until the end.
Yes.
What the heck happened.
Right.
And then when you find out what happened, it was chef's kiss. It was so perfect. Like, Simon coming up with this plan of, well, I'm going to do it anyway. Like, I planned on taking my own life anyway. So what better way than to just take a bunch of people with me?
Yeah.
And this is like the greatest mass ending of students, to have it happen in this way and nobody know it until the end. Which then just makes it seem like, like, sucks for you that didn't happen the way that you anticipated and you're gone. But he was going to end his life anyway. But I don't know. The whole thing was awesome. The book was really incredible, and you're the worst.
Sorry. Sorry.
I'm looking forward to tapping into the next book.
I agree.
What about you?
I loved it. I thought it was so cool. I love the multiple POVs. When I first started it
was a little tricky.
It was a lot of POVs. This wasn't 2 or 3. This was multiple people, but the character development was so good. Like, I just really started rooting for these kids and just really wondering who could have done it. And very early on, I just thought, there's no way any of them did this.
I wasn't sure, though. Like, on my notes, I thought Bronwyn's sister was a little bit sus, because she was, like, really into
her sister, yeah, but
like, they could have. But then when you, like you just didn't know, but then you also like didn't want it
Right.
to be them
Yes.
together.
Like I liked all of them. And sometimes like he could have I liked all of their characters. They were
Yeah.
all realistic. I felt like I don't know, it was just a really good story. She
It
did such a
was.
good job with this.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
I
I
mean,
enjoyed it. I was so excited. I remember when I was messaging you and I was like, I don't want to wait
right.
until book club. I need to get this off my chest. This book is so awesome. It's so good.
It was
So,
really good. So
yeah, it
yeah,
was an
we really
awesome
hope you
read.
guys check it out. I mean, we
Yeah.
gave a lot of detail, but there's still a lot of other detail
Yeah,
in the book for
definitely check it
sure.
out. It's so worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Awesome.
all right, besties. Well, we will see you in the next episode. If you have any suggestions or recommendations, make sure you let us know in the comments down below. We'll definitely push it up in the queue, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.